welcome to the stream. In today's stream, we'll be talking about mecha. Just like I don't know what mecha to talk about. I don't actually have a plan for this. Just whatever happens. This is kind of a test stream. I haven't streamed at this time before, but we're trying it because I have like a real life job. I know, crazy. VTuber actually has a life outside of VTubing. That's insane, huh? But unfortunately, that's how it is. So I was thinking about this, and I think the way I want to start it. That's the music I'm listening to is too loud. Speaking of which, is so give any mecha design, first person in the chat to give a mecha design. It doesn't matter what it's from, or it doesn't even matter if it's from something I've seen. As long as it's not like a spoiler for something like some Metal Sonic design from a later game that I haven't played. As long as it's not something like that, then we're good to go. But even if it's like, say, something from like Lasner, which I haven't watched, it's as long as it's not like the spoilery, that's good. And we'll talk about whoever says the mecha design first in the chat for us to talk about first. We'll talk about that one first. And Jacob Merscall, hello, welcome to the stream. Estelle, hello, welcome to the stream. Just getting here, I see Aya and chat unexpectedly saying fuck. Well, I mean, it's not that bad of a word. It's not like it's a slur. I think it's fine. Also, a stream that I might do in the future, I haven't decided yet if I want to bother with it. If there's any interest, soon I might do a stream where I replace all the capacitors on either my NES, that is my Nintendo Entertainment System, or my Super Nintendo. Or possibly one for each. Like in a hand cam stream. Probably that would be a later stream like this. Maybe next week. We'll see. We'll see what people think. I'll make like polls about it and such. Anyway, so what do you think, chat? What mecha should we start off with? You know what? Actually, right now I'm listening to the Castlevania 3 soundtrack, but thinking about it instead, I'm actually gonna listen to the Metroid, let's say Zero Vision soundtrack. Since that's like more mecha-y, but similar. It doesn't really matter. Working on all systems we watch. The G Rico. Okay, the G Rico itself. Also, welcome to the stream, Ray G. Let me get a PNG of that up here. Or the G self. I assume you mean by saying G Rico. Okay. Me. Ah. Come on. I hate the Gundam Wiki, but it's useful. Okay, let's scale you down a bit. And yes, for this I'm just using my image editing program. So, what series is that from? This is from Gundam Reconquista and G. People will tell you it sucks. If somebody tells you it sucks, explode them with your mind. It's an act of mercy, honestly, for them. So, what do I start off by saying about this? So, this is a design I'm personally extremely fond of. It's got a very good flow, and a picture that I think shows that very well is this piece of art here. The model I've seen on Gundam Breaker 4. Oh, nice. When you get there in the franchise, you should definitely watch the show. It's very good. So yeah, this like early drawing shows that flow very well. The mecha feels compact. I'm just here for vibes. I mean, if you want me to talk about like say Metal Sonic or something, I can do that. That is a mecha design, and it's one that I like a lot, or Mecha Sonic. I tend to mostly focus on giant robots, but I mean, Haro's in the thumbnail on YouTube. Haro's like, I don't know, like 30 centimeters wide, like in diameter. So Haro's not huge at all. Maybe more like 20, honestly. I don't remember. And it also depends on the Haro. Anyway. Can you type the name of the Gundam so I can look up later? It is G-Self. I'll put it in chat. Anyway. So there are some things in this preliminary design that seem to be changed. These lights here are different. But then what strikes me more is that there are more lights in the head, namely right here. And this seems to be pretty late in the design process. Earlier designs, let me get a picture of the early design. The early design was very different. Where is it? There we go. Wait, no. This would be the better picture for that. And let's make that a bit bigger. Yeah, so the early design, it's like there's a lot that's very different here. I'd say there's probably more different than similar. But there is some similarities. We've got lights on it here and here. We've got the big eyes remaining. The fact that there's lights on the head, although this seems to have gone into the Mac knife from the same show. But it's much lankier, and all the curves are just all straight lines, so it's interesting how much it changed. Anyway, that's not really what I'm mainly talking about. So the design has a really good flow. Wait, did I put these? These are on the same layer. God damn it, I didn't want to do that. It's fine. I just realized you guys still can't, it's still not. You know what? I actually don't want these to be on the same layer. There, now they're not. Yeah, you guys still can't actually see the whole thing. There we go. The early G-Self looked more aligned with the G-Savior. That's actually very true. This does look rather G-Savior-like. It looks it looks almost like a, what's his name? The guy that did like half the designs for Iron Blooded Orphans. He also did all the ones for Moon Gundam. It is Ippei Gyobu. Yeah, Ippei Gyobu. Yeah, it's like, it almost looks like an Ippei Gyobu design. It has the same a lot of the same design sensibilities as a lot of Gyobu designs. Which, I mean, he did work on this. I don't think he made this early design, but he may have. But I don't tend to like the Gyobu designs that much. I do like them, but not that much. But things like what we actually got, I'm a big fan of. I'm a really big fan of the way the eyes are. I really like large eyes on mecha. I think that probably started from my childhood love of Spider-Man. I was a big fan of Spider-Man when I was a kid, and I liked the bigger-eyed like 90s designs the most. But yeah, the red bottoms of the feet are interesting, because they made it blue in the bottom. I gotta ask, what is with the horns? That's the V-fin. It's a Gundam after all. It's gotta have a V-fin. The G-Self is a design that people complained about it, saying it's not Gundam enough. Which, I mean, they do that with every new design. They did it with Ariel. They did it with Barbatos. They did it with the G-Self. Hell, they did it with Zeta Gundam when that came out. They said Zeta Gundam didn't look enough like a Gundam when that first came out. But, you know, variety is the spice of life. So it's good to have some variety. And like obviously, it's not going to be for everyone. Like Barbatos, for instance. If that had a slightly more conservative design, you know, like if it did the V-fin wasn't huge and horn-like, and the torso wasn't so thin and unarmored, I'd probably like it a lot more. But like, that doesn't mean the design shouldn't be that way. That's the difference between me saying that and people who complain about, oh, it's not Gundam enough, like, I hate this, on, like, you know, Twitter or whatever. Because, like, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's, like, not every design is going to be exactly perfect for me. And you know what? Because I don't really like that design that much, I can just watch 00 again or something. If I really want to see a more conservative Gundam design, I can look at any of the other designs. It's, like, it's not exactly my thing, but that's completely fine. Anyway, I got slightly off topic there. I actually like these, like, leg proportions way more than what we got, especially the way that these, like, point down more. The way it points more, it goes more well with, the flow of the design. The legs kind of don't go with the flow of the design of the whole top of the mobile suit. Like, not that they don't fit, but rather that these legs, if there's any part of this that feels like it doesn't fit with the rest of it, it's definitely the legs. And the legs feel much better on this one. Those type of people just to bitch because they have nothing better to do. Yeah, indeed. And it makes them feel better about themselves, which is pathetic and sad. Anyway. Yeah, the G-Stuff is one of my favorite Gundam designs. It has a very compact, sleek look. It makes it feel futuristic and very cool. The lights on it also definitely help. The high grade of this is a really interesting build and very cool too. I have the perfect packs. I would like to get the atmospheric pack because I actually think the atmospheric pack might be my favorite. I do really like the space pack though. And of course the assault pack, but that's mostly just because it has high heels. I love high heels in mecha. But yeah, it's when I'm talking about mecha, one thing I'll tend to drone on and on about, and it's probably getting annoying for you guys to hear about it, but I'm gonna mention it again anyway because I have to. It's the like geometry of the mobile suit and the shape language, you know. So like fast mobile suits, they tend to be like even this. Let's go with this image because it works with this one too, but not as much. And this isn't even that fast of a mobile suit. Oops, that's not the one I wanted to get rid of. So we can clearly see, let me change to a different brush and take down my cursor size. We can very, that's, oh, that's the hardness and force are both taken way down. Maybe actually not quite that much. Yeah, see, you can see this like that sort of shape. It points up. Ah. Okay, we'll make a new layer that encompasses everything and is transparent, so I can draw on stuff. Yeah, it's got this like an upward pointing shape. Everyone would jab the G-Sub with the early design's legs. Probably might do it today since it's Jiriko's. Oh, is it really Jiriko's anniversary today? Oh, wow. I want to give it legs more like this on a high grade. But I don't have no idea how feasible that would be, especially with the like clear parts. So who knows if I'll ever do that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Who knows? But yeah, and then all the curves make it curves generally feel like they feel advanced to us in technology. Things like the when Apple wanted to make their computers like the G3. Hey, that's also a Gundam thing. But anyway, when they make their computers feel more advanced, they went from like let's see the what time did that come out? Okay, so if we look at like, I'll look up 1997 computer. Okay, here's a good example. Random compact desktop. It's all boxy because that's what it needs to do. You know, it's. Oops, I fucked that up. Ah, I did it again. Ah. So it's just a box. You know? Like because that's all it needs to be. It's just a box. It's all straight lines. To illustrate that more, let me use. Yeah, it's like every single part of this is comprised of straight lines. All of it, except for a gentle curve here. But then if we look at the Macintosh G3, which was also released in the same year. Like, if we compare it to this, they wanted it to look futuristic. So, all of these square lines are replaced with gentle curves, you know? Everything on this curves, basically. You've got straight lines pretty much on this part, and that's it. Everything curves. And then if we look at like sports cars, 80 sports cars, you got things like the we'll use 2 different generations of the same car. Still weighed a ton. Well, of course it did. But the point was they wanted it to look futuristic, and that's how they chose to do that. So if we look at 2 different generations of the same car, or we'll say even 3. Actually, that's even better. Wait. What's it was S. Okay. So this car versus when they wanted to modernize it for you know, I think 2 generations later. That's the S13, this is the S15. Ah, crap. There we go. Like, which of these looks more futuristic to you, you know? And these are both sports cars. These are both supposed to look like super, like, futuristic, which is why this does have some curves. But, you know, mostly you've got straight lines. They're all straight lines. It's all quite boxy. So it feels old. But then, and a lot of this is like our more modern like view of things, because it was kind of the opposite before that, because really old cars were quite bubbly and circular. But then this one replaces all of those for subtle curves. You've got a curve there. The front curves instead of just being flat forward like that. The roof is a lot more curved here, and it flows. The whole design flows. So it's because it's supposed to be futuristic. The design, like, it flows and it's all curved. And then the G-Self does that very well. Every surface basically is somewhat curved, like modern cars. There's this thing called cannon gun in UC 96. I do know the cannon gun. It's from Last Sun, I believe. Yeah, I reviewed it in my Gundam Unicorn review stream. Where is... Do I have that tab open still, actually? Ah, it refreshed it. That's okay. Let me grab that. Where did I even put the cannon gun? No, that's the Zeta one. Here we go. I found it. There it is. Sprockets, hello, welcome to the stream. Well, but so reliable compared to modern vehicles nowadays. That's very true, but the point is what choices they're making for the styling is the point I was making. I actually still prefer. I would never drive a modern car. They have screens that are all in your face and they're forced to be there. I call those 3 Project Vias, Tamer Project, made complete with cargo ship, white-based color scheme. Yeah, I haven't actually read Last Sun, but it's clear that with the where is it? The I forgot what that one was called. The G-First, that's it. The cannon gun, and I also forgot what this one's called. They're clearly supposed to be the white base team. But anyway, yeah, I put that in A tier in my tier list, as you can see here. That doesn't matter that much. But yeah, this is interesting because it looks a lot more buff than the gun cannon, or the Jagan. At some points, it does almost feel like they're just slapping stuff on there just to make the design look more complicated. Like this part here, for instance. These parts feel very extraneous to me personally. It feels like they're just adding bulk for the sake of adding bulk. But I do still overall really like this design. The hands to me are interesting. The way they have the, like, a camera there. That's actually really cool. GF tank, ah, yes. Yeah, this is quite interesting. The gun tank and gun cannon was done dirty and G-Cracks. I mean, it makes sense. I have mixed feelings on G-Cracks as a whole. But as far as his mechanical design stylings, I'm glad Yamashita was able to make things the way he wanted. But I definitely prefer the way that he designed mecha in the 90s, personally. I actually really like his 90s design for the new Gundam and Sazabi. Those were great. It's nice that it got a cameo appearance in G-Quacks, the Sazabi one, which was definitely the more well-known one. But yeah, I don't have that much to say about it, but it's neat to see the a more heroic-looking Jagan. Because the Jagan looks overall fairly like I mean, as a mass production unit, you know, you can kind of tell. They're supposed to look a little more utilitarian. Because gun cannon is not gun cannon; it's just gym cannon. I mean, it is gun cannon because but it's like, how do I phrase it? The light cannon is not exactly gym cannon either, because it doesn't really have any Gundam influence for the most part. Gun cannon need to have 2 cannon, not 1. Oh, counterpoint. I'll give you a counterpoint, actually. What about this? This one has 2. It's not but it's definitely a gym cannon. This is what I'm making in high grade form. The biggest issue so far is parts compatibility between the very new high grade, well, not very new, the somewhat new high grade gun cannon and the quite old high grade gym. Gun Cannon 2 says hello, or that, yeah. Yeah, I do actually quite like the gun cannon too. I would like to try and make it in model kit form. And the thing is, I don't think it would be that difficult apart from the... So all of this stuff would be a little bit of an issue. I've never seen that gym. It's not very well known, so I'll go through the development history. It starts with this one. We'll make it the same height for continuity. Yeah, it was an effort to add gym cannon parts, or gun cannon, or gym parts to the gun cannon, or I guess technically vice versa, to cheapen it, you know, to have the performance of the gun cannon at the price of the gym, basically. So we have the inner frame of the gym's arm. When did the Federation have the gym cannon? It's okay. I have no idea why but they had it in 79, but for some reason the model number is RGC 80. I have no idea. Maybe there's a lore reason. Maybe they just ignored it. But anyway, they had it in 79. My issue is that both of these two units have the model number of RGC 80, which is the same model number as the actual gym cannon. Whereas it should probably be something more like, considering it's not like completely prototype, but almost more like, how do I phrase it? It's not as prototype as the Gundam, for example. So maybe something like YRGC 80 or RXC 80, and not just, you know, the same as the production model. That's what bothers me, or rather it should be YRGC 80-1 and YRGC 80-2. Anyway, so it's like it's the inner frame plugging into the armor of the gun cannon, and then the gun cannon's head and cannons. So the two issues where there was test of stability issue, yes, that was, it had massive stability issues because of the legs, and then also there was cooling issues as well. So it was deemed overall a massive failure, leading to the Unit 2, which has these like vents, these special vents. I don't know what backpack this one has, but it looks like the normal gym backpack. This one has the gun cannon backpack, as well as gun cannon legs for improved ground stability. This one was considered a success, but was too costly, leading to the actual gym cannon. I said no, I'm riding on the Federation, but they deserve it. So did Xeon, as both sides had their faults. It's difficult to say which side has more faults, but because like on one hand, the Space Nomads were legitimately being oppressed. The only issue is that they chose to try and solve that with fascism. So they probably could have chosen a better way of doing that. Anyway, yeah, I'm building this in high grade form, but I haven't done anything on it in a long time because I don't have time. I can show a picture of that actually. if Firefox will not ship to bed. There we go. We find the image. I cannot find it. Let me look on Twitter. I know I posted it recently. Good question. We have to call those who live in space stones. What was the slur for those who live on Earth? I don't know if there was one. Considering it's a an analogy for racism in part, I wonder if it mirrors our real life issues with racism, where it doesn't really matter. Like nobody really cares, and it's not a widely used phrase because that's not the basically, they're not a marginalized group. The original Republic Museum was planning to ask for independence peacefully, and then comes the zombie family. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is my progress, and I just made it invisible. Ignore the messy desk. I don't live there anymore, and it's not as messy anymore. This is an old picture, but I haven't got anything done since then. But yeah, progress is going. Or it was. It's not going anymore. Because I haven't worked on it in forever. But it will be again when it does. When will that be? Who knows? You can see my my Hyzak custom there in the back. Which is more deserving of hand reveal. I mean, yeah, I've done a hand cam stream before, so I was building the 1/144th kit of the Javelin. I also did one where I was trying to fix a PS2. It failed, by the way. The laser that I got shipped, because it's a third-party, like, Chinese one, because you can't get, like, PS2 repair parts anymore. That's just not a thing. It's not something you can just do. Not like genuine ones. They don't make them anymore. So your option is third-party Chinese ones. But talk about a Freedom Gundam. So here's the thing. You didn't say which one. You said A. So, okay, we're gonna talk about the Freedom Gundam. And there we go. There you go, chat. The Freedom Gundam. You are Choice. Why so rude? I'm Choice? Whoa. That's not messy. My build table is a lot more messy with 5 HD kits laying everywhere and table nubs all over the table. That was actually just my desk that I would do everything on. But yeah, there was worse that I didn't show, but you know what? That's why I didn't show it. Given the eldest son of Zabi saw himself as a replacement for Adolf or something. Yeah, exactly. You're given. It left the message. What in the spiky oblivion is that? It's the Freedom Gundam. Probably not the Freedom Gundam that you guys are most familiar with. It's from before Gundam Maxter. I mean, it makes sense that there would be an American Gundam called the Freedom Gundam in G Gundam. And it is definitely a very American design. And it's like got a bunch of American tropes. Yeah, there's actually 3 different mobile suits called Freedom if you count all the Freedom variants as one. This is probably the least well-known one. Obviously the best well-known one is the Seed one. This also happens to be my least favorite one. The third one is here. The RGM-16 or 196, I think, Freedom, which is a mass production mobile suit from G-Savior. By the way, G-Savior is another Gundam entry that people will tell you, like, oh, don't watch that one, it sucks. It doesn't suck. It's good. It's like, it has its flaws, but this is not the Freedom RX-78 and Gunboy from original design for V-Project mobile suits. Yeah, but it's real. But what is real? The G-Savior? Yeah, G-Savior's. It's like, it's live action, which is odd. What isn't that a conglomerate of a Federation and Xeon Max? I mean, not really. It's just a gym. The successor of the gym line, basically. So its closest animated, like, relation would probably be like the Javelin and James Gun. A gift? Oh, hydrate, okay. Enough of the hydrates, you're wasting all your points. Why so many? 5 hydrates, that's too many. Why are you trying to drown me? What's funny is I had a fuse, a little tiny surface mount fuse. Now's probably the wrong time to look for it, but I want it for a tiny bit. And it was like, I bought 2 of them because I wanted to have a spare in case I absolutely messed up the first one. Because I never actually really soldered anything. James Gunn, my film director, that's not the same James Gunn. Finish the water and get another one. It's not that much in 5 gulps. I have actually quite been liking James Gunn as a director, though. I've been watching Peacemaker. Because apparently in Season 2, Lex from the 2025 Superman, which I really, really loved, is in it. And now because he's in a rated R feature, he gets to say swear words. It's impossible for you to overhydrate. That is literally scientifically incorrect. It's possible to drink so much water you die. Need to find a good website to buy more Gunpla. I usually use... Amazon can be good sometimes. You just have to be sure. It can also be really, really bad. So make sure you're actually getting a good deal, basically. For you? Oh, so I'm immune to drowning my electrolytes then, huh? But yeah, USA Gundam Store is a good one as well. And Gundam Planet. Newtype.us is not. Do not buy from them. their service is fine. Their shipping is fine. Their prices are, you know, the same as USA Gundams or on Gundam Planet. But they use AI art in their promotional materials. They also sponsor like super right-wing YouTubers that would want me literally dead. So, you know, not good people. So, yeah, we don't like new type in this house. I refuse to buy anything from them, even if no other place has it. If no other place has it, I'm just not getting it. Also, if it's something, how do I phrase it? If it's like a third-party design, like the company GBC made a 1/144th Exia recently that I actually really want. That's a completely different design from the high grade. For places like that, AliExpress can be a good one. I don't really know any other shops for third-party stuff. I need to find out places that I can buy things like wave option parts. Normally I would say 1999.co.jp and what's the other one? God damn it, I forgot. Hang on. Oh, Hobbylink Japan. But if you live in the United States right now, 1999.co.jp and Hobbylink Japan. I'm getting ads for Gundam House, something like that. I've heard of them, but I've never bought from them. Yeah, 1999.co.jp and also Hobbylink Japan. If you live in the U.S., though, right now those aren't great options, just because you would have to import them from Japan, and it's pretty pricey to do that right now because of the whole tariffs situation. Which sucks considering U.S. distributors generally do not ever have Macross kits from the original show. All those companies doesn't have, how do I say this, local branches thing over here. With what places to buy from, I mostly know for the United States, just because that's where I happen to live. I've never had a reason to look into any other place really, except for places that I've considered moving to. It's kind of funny how the freedom is just joining us in this conversation. There is no kit of the freedom, by the way, except for a third-party kit, which is great, actually, as far as I can see. It looks amazing. But the issue is that they don't use molded plastic, they use printed plastic. So you have, like print lines and such, and the texture of 3D printing, and it's like, I'll pass. You know what I really want to get a plastic model kit? Idolo. Let me get these bums out of here. Order from new type and then send it with a demon core inside. That's so true. That's a really good idea. Let me show Idolo. That's a decent image. I need this thing to have a kit. I think I saw an announcement or YouTube post of one of the few smaller battleship that appears in Space Battleship Yamato. I don't really know anything about Space Battleship Yamato yet. But yeah, I need this thing to have a kit. It has one kit, which is a non-posable statue kit, and also it's a resin kit that's very expensive. Maybe model that battleship. Well, I still wouldn't know. But it's always neat when new things get model kits. I really like how with the posing of the arm, his sword looks like tiny. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Idolo. I do like Jehudi from the same franchise more. But Jehudi does actually have a kit. They desperately need to give Idolo a kit. It's a shame it doesn't have one. It's a crime, actually. In general, we need a lot more Zone of the Enders kits. We need a Raptor kit, too. And then Mummy Head and Cyclops option sets to make the Raptor one of those. Probably it's because of the really super, super thin waist that we don't have one yet. But I might end up trying to scratch build my own Idolo based on maybe Jehudi, but more likely Dolores. I mean, Dolores is a quote-unquote Idolo standard type. The overall shape is quite similar. Particularly the shoulders, thighs, and waist are much more similar than Jehudi. And Dolores does have a kit. There's no good front-facing line art like this for Jehudi, really. I guess this will have to do. Yeah, Jehudi has some fairly different proportions. Definitely, it would be better to base it off of off of Dolores. Who knows? Maybe, you know what? The more I look at it, that actually might be doable. The V-fin / visor would be the hardest. Holy thin waist look like twigs. They're designed by Yoichi Shinkawa, who you would mostly recognize from Metal Gear Solid, probably. And Ken Marineris in real life? No. Real life, correct the direction. Oh, I can't wait till we play that on stream and everybody gets to hear Ken Marineris tell me to correct the direction over and over again. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of Zone of the Enders. Oh, you think you think these have thin waists? I'll show you. This is what's really a thin waist. Ken, who? It's a character from the game these are from. Well, except the pink one and the white one are actually not from games. They're from two different anime projects that are based on the games. You know what? The other thing is, if they did make an Idolo model kit, they could so easily make Hathor. Which does not have I couldn't find line art at a better size than this. That's like this same like front-facing one. It's like, it's literally the exact same design, except it has slightly different hips and these like wings on the feet and the different head. So they could so easily retool if an Idolo design to make Hey Thor. I actually did a watch-along stream of Idolo. That was fun. But I didn't, it's not archived because of copyright. Maybe I will do another one. That was supposed to be in preparation for playing Zone of the Enders, but then I didn't end up doing that yet. Holy crap, I realized that point in the front of my mind went south. Yeah, that's the cockpit. In this one, kind of emphasis on the cock part, if you'll excuse my French. But it's one of the things that I think makes the design cool. Talk about the guy from Dolores. Which guy from Dolores? James Links? Anyway. Yeah, these are, I love the Zone of the Enders designs. As much as I love designs like the VF-19 from Macross, or Exia, out of all mecha franchises, I talk about Gundam the most, and out of those, Exia Avalanche is my favorite. But you know what? It still can't hold a candle to Jehudi. Jehudi is my absolute favorite mechanical design of all time. I really, really love Jehudi. I have the Kurobuki kit. I also have one for Vic Viper. But not that Vic Viper. Although I do need to play Gradius. I have this Vic Viper. It's kind of funny because they did what has basically, as I understand it, become the Kojima and Shinkawa thing. They did the exact same thing as the cyborg ninja in Metal Gear Solid 1, Gray Fox. Because Vic Viper wasn't supposed to be in the game. But Yoji Shinkawa drew it because apparently as a kid, he always imagined Vic Viper as in the one from Gradius. I'll just find a better image. Like, he just always imagined Vic Viper from Gradius transforming into a robot. So he just started drawing it. And then Hideo Kojima said, "Oh, I want this to be in the game." Yeah, you can see these are like mostly the same design. In this version, I'd never buy Gundam for you. That's messed up. In this mode, it's basically a Yoji Shinkawa version of this. That's all it is. Yeah, they're mostly the same aircraft. It is kind of funny though that one issue that transforming mechas tend to have is small wings, like the Zeta Gundam or Arios. But this one actually has bigger wings than the original. That's just a little funny to me. Yeah, I really, really love the designs from Zone of the Enders. Where did I even put... Why is that still here? Wait, did I put that... Oh my god. Huh, is it... Oh wait, it has to be... Where is it? There it is, right here. I think this is also one of my favorite transformations of a transforming mecha. It really works quite well. Yeah, we're never gonna actually get new Zone of the Enders kits because they hate me. It's because they hate me specifically. I'm sorry. It's my fault. If they didn't personally hate me, they'd probably make new ones. I got on my phone as a system update saying that I need to do. Well, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully the system update goes well and doesn't change anything that makes the phone unusable, basically. Android updates are risky. They like to make things bad. They like to make UI unusable. Buy a new phone and keep watching. Wow. Amazing advice here from Freaky Moosewalker. I have the kit of this, and I'd like to do a custom build of it at some point. Speaking of Transform Mecha, what about the Nervash from Eureka 7? That is one that I do not know about at all, so let's find out. That thing transforms? I'm only seeing a Nervash type 0, so... Oh, here's a normal Nervash. Apparently. That thing transforms? Okay, here's the mech by itself. I'm only seeing the type 0 transformed. Okay, I'll go to the wiki. That's gotta have it, right? Unless it doesn't transform. I don't think it does. Did you mean the Type 0? That's the Nervash Neo. That's the Nervash Neo. Okay. There's like 2 different ones that says it's the Nervash Type 0. Find is it this? And this? Oh my god, whoever did the background removal from this. Yikes. Is that it? Hot Gundam, okay. Who designed this? This looks very Shochi Kawamori. Okay, I'm learning there's a Spec 1 and Spec 2. Who did design this? there a real life info section? The Spec 1 and Spec 2 looks similar. Spec 2 has wings on the shoulder. Okay, got it. Let me see. I'm trying to find out who designed this. I'll go to any MHQ. Nervash type 0 HQ. I'm sure they're gonna have it. Spec 2 is basically a mid-season upgrade. That makes sense. I like its face a lot. Okay, looking at this, like, the penmanship in the design notes, and the way that the black is used in the line art, like, right here. I think this is probably, oh yeah, here it is, Shoji Kawamori. I was right. I can tell when a mecha is designed by him. Shoji Kawamori is possibly my favorite mechanical designer. Yeah, this looks a lot like his stuff. Actually, both of them look a lot like his stuff from, this is a little busy song I get rid of. Not that. Not that. Yeah, that. Oh, there's a bot. Why does a bot have a stupid, like, Spider-Man PFP? That's pissing me off for some reason. That's for real people only. Anyway. Yeah, it looks kind of like the stuff from Daemon Ex Machina. I do quite like it. The transform mode looks very interesting with these little reverse sept wings, which also feel very, Kawamori seems to really like reverse sept wings. I like these feet quite a bit with the like fins facing backwards. Their proportions are interesting. It's very lanky, very long arms. I do quite like the silhouette that this gives it. By the way, this is another example that I was talking about earlier. Where is my... all the way down here. It has the same, like, let me... It has that same, like, silhouette where, especially with this horn on the top, it's all, like, the overall silhouette is pointing forward, but also everything else is, there's a lot of sharp angles that culminate in points. Like, you've got another sort of shape like that right here, which also helps with giving it that same silhouette for the transform mode. It makes it look more fast. Whereas these, the way the feet also do that, but it's in a different direction. See? It's more forward. It makes it feel more, less like just fast and more also agile. Oh, I didn't see the hydrate redeem. I will redeem the hydrate. I will do the hydrate. I will hydrate myself. I will take a drink. Yeah, you see this kind of shape language all over the place in mechanical design. Like, let's take a random armored core, for example. I'll just search up armored core mecha. It's probably going to be from 6th gen, which is unfortunate because that's not my fave. But let's just do that and see what we can pick out from its shape language, shall we? Okay. Okay, so this one actually, yeah, this, I'm not sure if this is 6th gen. I also don't know if this is actually from Armored Core. It might not be. I do actually quite like the look of this one. But let's look at its shapes. So the first thing that comes to mind is I'm gonna switch to what's a color that's gonna stand out a lot? Red. That looks 4. It does look like 4. It looks like it could be 6 though, but I think it's 4. Anyway, so the first thing that stands out to me is this point here. That's too large of a brush. I don't like that. Yeah, so there's this point here, which is reinforced by the head. But generally with really fast designs, you traditionally would have a smaller head. This point is partly just because that's a precedent that's sort of started by actually, let me get rid of those and then do them on the different layer like I wanted to. Yeah, that's kind of a precedent started by Shoji Kawamori, and he really likes these sort of like this is the same sort of shape as the VF-19 torso. So, but whereas this one actually, despite having that same, it does sort of have this sort of overall silhouette, but that's not really mostly what I think the shape language is saying, although it is partly. But we're seeing a lot of different points in all different directions, but generally away from the main body. See? Looks Armored Core. Good morning. I believe it is from Armored Core. Hello, and also hello, Sneaky Silk. I don't believe you've ever been in the stream chat before. So yes, welcome for your first time. But we have, again, what I was saying with like these parts here. The way that they point that way and give the foot a shape that's like that makes it feel more agile. And in general, the way that the not as such, no, normally moderated around this time. Ah, got it. Yeah, the way that it's like, so these points here, and then they also sort of culminate with the flow of this leg. They give it a bit of that fast aesthetic, as well as the overall vague shape like that for its silhouette. But the general way that there's different, you know, it's in all different directions. It's spiky, without disrupting these primary shapes here, makes it feel, to me, more agile, you know? And with that, this big weapon doesn't disrupt it. Very often with things like even with the Zeta Gunman to an extent, the wave launcher disrupts its strong, like, triangle shape. It's not an issue, but it's a weapon like this could have that effect, but since it doesn't try and it doesn't hinge on its overall silhouette, but instead on all of the details pointing in different directions, because of that, the weapon doesn't disrupt it. So I think that's very well designed. But it does still have a bit of that triangle shape. So that's very interesting. It's also interesting how so many of the narrow profile shape probes with aerodynamics. Yeah, although right now what I'm talking about more is how mecha are designed with with shape language, with how the shape language of the mecha affects your perception, so more out of universe. I'm sure, yeah, the narrow profile is designed for aerodynamics, and also that also does affect your opinion of it, where because it's thinner, if it was bulkier with this same sort of profile, it wouldn't have the same or the same, like, if it had the same sort of shapes but bulkier, it probably wouldn't feel nearly as agile, you know? It wouldn't feel as agile to the viewer. But this sort of has most of the same as say the G Self. So let's look at a different one that's perhaps even more interesting. Okay, this is very different. Okay, it's not an image of the full mech, but that's fine. It works. So the overall shape is a box. It's a square. So we can draw a. I need to get rid of that. So the overall shape is that is the eraser box. It doesn't have the shoulders have the same widthness, or have the same width as to where the bottom of the feet comes out. That's very different to say this one. On this one, the shoulders, notice the shoulders are thinner. The top of the shoulders is thinner than where the bottoms are where the feet end up. With this one, the shoulder comes out to the same length. Since you have Macross listed in the Mark II, we example Chunky Boy. It would, yeah. We can look at the monster after this example. Another thing is on this one. Everything is points. Everything. Pointy things are fast. You know, there's arrows. There's aircraft. We're used to pointy things being fast. Whereas this one is, in terms of its shapes, if anything, is more like maybe a tank or a battleship. You know, it's a lot of curves. And that also helps it feel more tanky. It has this point at the end because it apparently has to, because it's an armored core, you know. It has that point, but it's not as direct. You know, it doesn't feel sharp. It's rounded at the end, and then also, there's curves here, you know, and then there's lots of convex curves. I love that Armored Core 5 ship boxes. I have actually not played any Armored Core 5, and also, it's my least favorite generation in terms of the design, but that might change when I actually play it. I've actually not played that much Armored Core. I've played a decent amount of 2. I've played through all of 1, not getting Human Plus because I didn't want to. I kind of regret that now. And while playing Project Phantasma, which I think I'm almost done with. I haven't played it in a long while, though. And I've played some of 6 before deciding I wanted to wait. From the perspective of armor files, curves can also deflect AP shells. That is very true. That is why we associate it with things like tanks, because they have those curves for the same reason. It does also have, you know, these go out in this direction and these go out in this direction, and that makes it feel more offensive. You know, a good example of a mech that does that to its advantage is the Freedom Gundam. Let's take this picture. Instead of a triangle, this one, it's kind of a star, you know? like everything's going in all directions. There's still that point there, and that does help it feel more faster. But it's all of its limbs go in all opposite directions, and that helps in the mind. It feels like it would be better as an offensive weapon, you know, because it reminds us of things like I guess it reminds us of things like a sea urchin, that you know, like, don't touch that, it's gonna hurt you. I have no idea if that actually is why, but. And then you wanted to do the monster. Mark II monster. Okay, so once again, right off the bat, to some it would suggest multiple angles you could fire from. Yeah, exactly. I think one that does this badly is the Build Strike Galaxy Cosmos, in my opinion. I think the shape is the shape's language is done fine, but as for the design itself, I haven't seen it recently enough to really comment on it. It didn't leave a big impression to me. But so the very first thing you see is these cannons. The cannons give a very strong initial impression. And then also on this, basically everything tends to face forward. You know, we've got the cannon barrels, they all face forward. These face forward. Even the feet tend to face forward. And then we've got this that also faces forward. Now, what separates this from designs like some Armored Core designs that also face forward is that this one doesn't feel fast. It doesn't feel like a supercar. And the curves on the design are, again, very important to this. There's all curved, but again, not like a modern sports car. The curves are it's not that kind of curve. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a curve that makes it feel bulkier. You know, it makes it feel more filled out. And like basically everything is curves except for the weapons. The bulky kind of curves. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that it's pretty blocky, but then but curved, you know, it's not lithe at all. Your brain doesn't even start to approach speed, you know. So and also again, when we look at the overall silhouette, let me get rid of all of this. Oh shit, I was writing on the wrong layer. Again, it's a square. That's the overall like shape. Even if we look at it from like a different angle, let me see if I can find a front-facing image. Here's one. Why on earth is... Okay, whatever. That doesn't matter. What matters is, right from here, it's something of a square, you know? This is a better image. Yeah, the overall, the primary shape. They were saying, maybe think of BattleTech when you have an assault mech going faster than a light. Good older mech. I haven't actually played that much of BattleTech, but the overall shape is a square. Mechs that are shaped like a square have a slow feel to them, like a bulky feel. But then the extremities pointing forward feels offensive, you know? So your mind goes, okay, so right off the bat, just from the shapes, your mind immediately goes, okay, this thing is slow and heavily armored and it's really good at attacking. Even if you... I feel like even if you don't know that these are cannons, that's probably still the vibe you would get. I drew on the wrong layer again. I don't care because I'm going to delete that layer anyway. Nope, that deletes the whole... There we go. Yeah. And then, from the thing I was talking about again, this. What's interesting, I think, to look at is this, like, feels considerably more advanced than this. You know? And it's because of the kind of shapes that it has. Usually it's a chunky artillery mecha. Yes, indeed. Snake Eyes. That is a snake, you're right. I actually haven't watched Macross 2 yet. I really need to, but... So, the question is, why does this look so much more advanced? And I think the reason is, there's more curves. But also, it's the type of curves that there are. More curves, and also things are more angular. Generally, this is still pretty bulky. It still feels slow, but if you look at things like these, this is from a different angle. This is a flat. This is a flat line here from a different angle. It's a very simple shape, whereas this is a more complex shape. And then this has like gentle curves that make it feel sleek, whereas this is a less gentle curve. It's more of a bubble. Bubble curves, that's what it is. Bubble curves feel old. Usually. It's not always. In this sort of context, bubble curves feel old. Looks like some systems be condensed. That also. But I feel like that's not... Like, you don't immediately notice that. You do notice that this one looks newer before you notice things like that the cannons have been miniaturized somewhat. And it's like the shapes are more complex. And then like it's sleeker. It's gentle curves. Gentle curves feel advanced. And that's what I was talking about with it's all the way at the bottom, the G self. It's all gentle curves, and that lets it feel advanced, you know? There's not very many bubble-shaped parts, and then there are definitely points, but points can also feel advanced. And there's not very many straight lines. Even like the legs right here have still a gentle curve there. Very gentle, but it still is a bit of a curve. Yeah, learning about this sort of thing is very interesting to me as a designer. Because like even if somebody who doesn't know about Macross at all, if you ask them to point out which one of these looks more advanced, they would. I'm fairly sure that like basically all the time they point to the Macross 2 one. It like objectively looks more advanced because of its use of gentle curves instead of bubble shapes. In a way, the original Macross one, like, it almost intentionally looks antiquated, you know? Its bubble shapes are reminiscent of things like World War II tanks. And that's also definitely very on purpose, because we associate that with, like, big, heavy, dangerous things, you know, because World War II tanks. So it's definitely on purpose. But it's interesting that it almost intentionally looks antiquated, whereas this one very intentionally looks like new and advanced. It's neat how that works. What was that? Oh, that was that picture. I want to get rid of a few of the layers. Oh, we can leave that. And that. We can get rid of that. Yeah, that's why I always, like, whenever in my Gundam materials, I always end up talking about a design I really like. I'll usually say that it has, like, effective use of shape language. And a lot of the time, I'm just talking about the basic silhouette, like where if you have like arrows, like if you were to put arrows on it, what direction are the arrows pointing? Like often it'll be all forward, or in all directions, and that changes your opinion of the mecha. But then also its overall silhouette, what shape it is. Yeah, because like how do I phrase it? Like, for instance, the Strike Freedom's an interesting example, because I don't think you would really say that one's like, it's not a square for sure. But it's not exactly, I think overall you would say a star is the shape. The immediate like silhouette is a star. Or when it's not, like when the wings aren't like unfurled, you still like, you see them visually as wings, you know? So it's not exactly a triangle, because they're an extremity. Your brain factors them in differently than the rest of it, so you get a different silhouette than if they were connected to, say, the arms. It's interesting how that works. I don't know if I have anything else to talk about. I think it's fine for this one to be short anyway, though, so I think we can probably... Wow, it's already been an hour and a half, God. I got very into talking about it in the last second time. This stream did do fairly well, not amazingly, but also my viewership is going down just because it's not exactly anything bad. It is bad, obviously, because the viewership is going down, but it's not that bad because it happens every year. Winter is just an off-season, which actually doesn't make any sense to me. At least I would have thought that winter would be the season where people are more inside watching things, whereas in summer they're outside doing things. You know, they're going to see movies or whatever, or they're out with friends, and during the day they're swimming or whatnot. So I would have thought that winter would be the on season and summer would be the off season for streaming. But I guess that's not the case. But yeah, my viewership is going down, so considering that, this stream actually did okay, so maybe I'll do more of those. Like I said, I'm considering doing a hand cam stream where I replace all the capacitors in either my Super Nintendo or Nintendo Entertainment System. The Super Nintendo won't turn on, it's broken. And I am hoping that replacing all the capacitors will help. If it doesn't, then it's probably the picture processing unit, which is basically the console's equivalent of a GPU with modern systems. In which case, it's fucked. Unless it's the cartridge connector, which I doubt. But I guess I can probably find out with my multimeter. Anyway, the NES works fine, but it needs a capacitor replacement. I don't know which I would do. Maybe I'll do a poll or something. But we'll find out. So I'm considering doing that. If I do that, it maybe next Friday. I don't know what my next week's schedule is going to be, because I have to get my real-life job schedule. But if you want to be able to see my schedule very easily, then you should join my Discord server. It's the best place to talk to me and my community when I'm not streaming. And also, it's just cool. Most of you here probably like mecha, I'm guessing, considering you joined a stream about me talking about mecha. So we talk about mecha a lot in my Discord server. Of course, it's mostly Gundam because, you know, that's objectively the most popular mecha series. So it makes sense that it's the one that talks about most. But we do talk about other mecha franchises a lot. And also, even if you don't like mecha, it's still a decent place to be. I do try and police the mecha to mostly the Model Kit channel and the Talk About TV Show and Movies channel. I've seen a fair bit of mecha anime games. Well, then you'd fit right in the Discord server. You can also get ping notifications for streams and such, or not. It's up to you. You don't have to. It's a role that you can pick to have or not. But yeah, if you really enjoyed the stream, definitely try to remember to like the video, that helps a lot. And if you want, subscribe if you want to see me like playing games and chatting and such more often. Subscribing is the best way to do that. Also, if you really want to, I have a Patreon, which will also give you early access and Patreon exclusive content. They want to asking for Zoids reviews. I know nothing about Zoids, so that's probably not going to happen right away. I will say the Zoids designs look quite busy, and I'm not a big fan of the ones I've seen. But yeah, I do have a Patreon, but if you want to support me monetarily, I also have a Ko-Fi, and I'm going to be, when I can remember my account, I'm going to be sharing my Cash App. But, of course, monetary support is not at all necessary. It's just if you want to, you can. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.